All right. Hello there, everybody. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day. Hello there, Jason and Vaxer. I'm sorry.
And Vaxer.
And Bowser and Shen and Art. How are you guys all doing today? Thanks for coming by. So today we've got the show's going to be different than normal. This is kind of experimental. I'm not sure how it's going to go. It's not really planned out. I have certain things that I want to talk about based on feedback from you guys. And this is, it's about anything. It's not just about Nintendo. It's not just about Stadia. It's not just about anything. It's about everything. So that's why, as you can see, I've got all my shows listed down below. I mean, I don't have Run, Jump, Stomp listed down below, but I've got them all. I've got my shows listed. I couldn't fit Run, Jump, Stomp on there, but you know, if somebody looks for Run, Jump, Stomp, they'll find it. But I am going to record this and put it on the Switchcraft feed because I do have a lot of Nintendo stuff to talk about based on the things that people had sent in. So there you go. Vaxer says, I was being productive, so I cleaned the Christmas tree and decorations, and now you're sad about that. I'm sorry that you are sad about that. We took our Christmas tree down last weekend. Shen, you've been listening to 143 Pixels. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been really special hearing people recalling their favorite game experiences. That's very nice to hear. That's probably the show that I'm most proud of, even though it's my least popular show. Like, my most popular show is Switchcraft, and then Stadia Cast after that, and then Run, Jump, Stomp, and then 143 Pixels is my least popular show, even though I personally think of all of my shows, it's the best one. So if you haven't subscribed to it, make sure that you do. I just recorded an episode of that on Thursday with Brian Dunaway. That's for season 3. And I'm still editing some season 2 stuff. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to put on. I might put this on the feed for this week on 143 Pixels. I'm not sure. Bowser says probably just because it's new. Well, it's also a wildly different kind of show. Like, all the other shows that I do are very news related, and people, they're all very quick. Well, I don't know that I want to say quick because Stadia Cast is pretty long, but they're news related, and so 143 Pixels is not about gaming news, so less people listen to that stuff, I think. Well, I'm happy that you guys are enjoying it. That makes me happy. I did see that somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody bought one of my Resolution Doesn't Matter shirts over on my merch site. It makes you want to play some games that you otherwise wouldn't really know about. All right, I'm going to pop out chat because it's too low down. There we go. And move this over here. Just rearranging my desktop a little bit. Oh, it was you. All right. Well, thank you for the support, Bowser. I hope you enjoy them. Vaxer likes the honk t-shirt. Thank you. I saw that somebody bought a Nintendo Switchcraft shirt the other day. I think the new art is much, much better than the old art. But if you look, let me see if I can bring this up. I don't know. I don't know if I can. The original art for Nintendo Switchcraft was so bad. So pics. Yes, okay, I found it. Hold on. It's ridiculously bad. All right. I don't know if it'll show. Maybe if I do this. There we go. That'll show up. You guys aren't going to believe how bad this was. Are you ready? Where is it? Here? Yeah, there we go. So if you, this was the original logo for Nintendo Switchcraft. You know, because it was witchcraft. So I found this cauldron, and I had it connect to the H with the Joy-Cons on either side. Isn't that bad? Bowser likes it. Yeah, the really old one. Look at how awful that is. I don't like it. Although at the time, I liked it a lot. So then, you know, then we went to the light blue and red one after they revealed what it looked like. Let's see, pics. So then I went to that one. And then after much revision, like the mods, I don't know what's going on with my voice here. The mods in Discord can attest to how long I've been working on getting the Switchcraft logo, the new one, the way it is. I can't zoom out. Can I zoom out? There we go. Like, that's the new one. I've been working on that one for a while. Reminds you of the Nintendo 64. Well, thank you, Art. How did I make it? I made it. Excuse me. Oh my God. I apologize for my cough. I made it using this app on my iPad, which I'm trying to bring up here. I don't know if this will show it right. Yeah, okay, here we go. So I drew it on my iPad like that. And you can see it it go through various revisions here as I tried to figure out how to make it look the way that I wanted it to look. Over and over again. I could not get it to look right. And I tried to put some words on the bottom. but I couldn't fit them the way that I wanted, so I kept trying different things. Anyway, there you go. That's how it was made. Using a pencil. Thank you, Esteban. All right. So I'm going to leave the music on. Is that okay with you guys if I leave the music on while I record? Because I can remove the music afterward. All right. In fact, I can not record the music at all. How am I supposed to rock out without music? That's a great question. That's a great question. All right. So listen, if you guys could do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Let YouTube know that you like what I'm doing here. That would really help. Also, there's a little arrow. Maybe I can show it to you. There's a little arrow right here. You see this? Where's my mouse? There we go. See this little arrow? If you click on this little arrow, it gives you the URL, and you can share it to wherever it is that you want. You think somebody would enjoy watching the stream with you? Then, I need to put that back. Hold on. There we go. If you know somebody that would like to watch the show, then click that arrow and let them know about it so they can watch with us. That being said, the intro is going to be different too, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go straight in with no intro. All right, we're going to start with an email. I don't even have show notes. All I have are feedback from you guys. What am I recording now? Tell you the truth, I don't know. It's just... I mean, my plan was to put it on the Nintendo Switchcraft feed. It really depends on what questions came in. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let me shut off. Or no, I'm going to leave the music on. All right. So hitting record. All right. I'm recording. We're recording this. So now people will know. People will know. All right. Here we go, everybody.
Hello, look. Hey, listen.
Hey, everybody. This is a little bit different than I usually do. This is an episode of Nintendo Switchcraft. Well, it started out as an episode of Nintendo Switchcraft, but I haven't really looked at the messages that people came in. I don't know what the questions are about, so we'll see. This may not be limited to only Nintendo questions, although the first question that somebody sent in is very much a Nintendo question, so we're definitely going to be talking about Nintendo. And that first message came in via email. Eston emailed me. They actually emailed me a while ago, and it took me too long to get back to it. So for that, Eston, I apologize. I had planned on doing this last weekend, but I just never got around to it. I was too busy. But anyway, Eston sent in an email, and they said, I wanted to revisit the Amiibo. Do you know any? And what is your take? Well, I know lots of Amiibo. I think do you own any? Okay, well, I can't read. Do you own any? And what is your take on their being here, since all the companies like making money and Amiibo seem to sell very well? The quality of the detail are so well done, and to be frank, some of them are just too damn cute or cool for their own good. So I did want to talk about this a little bit because Amiibo, I think, oh, yeah, I have one here. Amiibo, they are cool. But I feel like the Toys to Life genre, I don't know if genre is the right word. The Toys to Life phenomenon has completely fell out of favor lately. In much the same way as the plastic instruments in your house kind of fell out of favor. You know, for a while there, we were all collecting Guitar Hero stuff and Rock Band stuff, and we had the plastic guitars and the drums and all of that stuff in our houses, cluttering up our living rooms. And then, out of nowhere, everybody at the same time seemed to decide, God, all this stuff in my living room is ugly and stupid, and I don't want it. And we stopped buying those games. And so they stopped making those games. So then the Toys to Life genre came about. And that was, you know, it started with Skylanders, where you could go and you could buy Skylander and you would put it on the portal and it would go into the game. And my son really loved Skylanders back in the day when he was little and really, really little. You know, it did very well. And then Activision proceeded to treat it like Madden, where they just brought out a new thing every single year. And, you know, it made some of the old stuff not as good. And you had to just keep buying stuff all the time. Like they would do these things where suddenly the old portal was incompatible, so you had to buy the new thing in order to keep up. And it was very irritating. I think that they had something very successful on their hands, and if they had waited maybe 3 years between releases, then it might have done, it might still be around. You know, then of course Disney Plus came out and they had their Toys to Life stuff, where you had you could go into, not Disney Plus, Disney Infinity, I think. Disney Infinity. You know, Disney Infinity came out and you could go into the games, and you had these characters that you put Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Incredible. You put Mr. Incredible on the portal, and now suddenly you're playing as him. You could take him off and switch him out with somebody else. That was really cool. Lego Dimensions tried to do their own thing, which was very interesting. Like, you actually had to build the portal out of Lego, which I thought was very, very cool. And they had a bunch of different spots where you could put a bunch of different characters on the game board at the same time. And of course, you're playing a Lego game, so very, very appealing to a lot of people. And Nintendo brought out the Amiibo to compete with that. And Nintendo didn't do things quite the same way as the other companies, the other Toys to Life companies did. And of course they didn't, because that's Nintendo. They don't do things the same way. They always do their own thing. So the way that they did it is, instead of having a game, and I don't know, maybe it would have been more successful if they had done it one game, but they decided to do their own thing, and I actually think it was a better move. Instead of having one game where the Amiibo were required to play, they, instead of that, had the Amiibo compatible with a lot of different games, but it was always optional. And I thought that was really cool, and it was a smart way to do things. Now, I have to admit that, yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm holding a Luigi Amiibo. I don't ever use these, ever. Like, why do I have them? I have them because I think that they look cool. And so the Amiibo that I have, like, on the shelf behind me, if you've ever watched the show, you've seen the shelf behind me. I've got a bunch of old video game consoles behind me. And I also have some Amiibo on the shelf. And the ones that I have are ones that I have a nostalgic... they conjure a nostalgic response from me, for the most part. So, like, I have like a Mario one because I love Mario games. I have Zelda because I love Zelda games. Or, I'm sorry, Link because I have Zelda games. Now, there are some that I have. Like, oh gosh, what's his name? The kid from Xenoblade Chronicles. Not X, but just Chronicles. I can't remember his damn name. Shulk. I have the Shulk amiibo. And the reason I have the Shulk amiibo is not because I have a nostalgic tug towards that game, because I don't. But the reason I have that amiibo is because it was really cheap. That's the only other reason that I have amiibo. And actually, there's 3 reasons why I personally might have an amiibo. A, nostalgia. That's the big one. B, it was super cheap. Or C, somebody got it for me as a present. Like, those are the 3 reasons why I might have an amiibo. And even the amiibo that I have them because they're cool figures and they look cool on the shelf. I never use them in game. Like, I might, like, okay, so in Fire Emblem 3 Houses, there's a spot where you can go and you can put the amiibo on the portal, and they jump into they bring in like some, I don't know, object that you can then either sell or gift to somebody, or it is useful in some way. And I did that once, and I was like, okay, that's cool, and I never did it again. Breath of the Wild. You could tap a Zelda amiibo on the controller, and then a chest would fall out of the sky or appear or something like that, and you could open it up and get something. And that was cool, and I probably did that maybe twice. So for the most part, for me, the amiibo are just a cool collectible that has a bonus that it is also a thing that you can use in a lot of Nintendo games. But outside of that, I never bought one of these because of the use that it has in a game. In fact, the ones that get used are the ones that my son uses. He'll come upstairs and he'll grab one off the shelf and take it downstairs and use it for whatever. And, he's always like, hey, can I use this amiibo? And I'm like, sure, because I don't have any data saved on it. Most of them have never been used, and they just sit on the shelf behind me because I think they're cool looking. But I'm curious as to what you guys think. Do you think that the amiibo craze, I don't know if it's a craze, do you think that the amiibo, what's the word I'm looking for? Do you think they're dead? I mean, yes, Nintendo is still bringing out new amiibo whenever they make a new Smash character. I'm sure that we're going to see an amiibo for Byleth from Fire Emblem 3 Houses, because that character is now in Smash. And Nintendo said, hey, we're going to be making amiibo for all of the characters in Smash. So they're kind of locked in, and they have to make amiibo for characters in Smash. But do you think outside of that, it's still doing anything? Like, when you go into a store, we don't really see amiibo in the store anymore. Like, you might see a few, but the section, like the Toys to Life aisle in stores used to be like teeming with stuff, and now it's basically like there's a bargain bin of Skylanders someplace, and then there's like a little 3-foot wide section of amiibo, and on there is usually 300 Toads and a bunch of Animal Crossing figures. And I don't know. I know that it's popular with some people, but I think for the most part, people are done with it. And I think Nintendo is done with it. And right now they're just doing the Smash ones. And I think that that's too bad, because there's something that they could have done that would have been incredibly cool. And what they could have done that would have really, really been amazing is if they had focused on the cards. If you didn't know, there are amiibo cards, because if you look at an amiibo, like this thing, it's just plastic. And then there's a little tiny chip in the bottom of an amiibo, and that chip has an RFID, radio frequency identifier. And when you tap it on, your Nintendo Switch, it says, "Hey, I know what that is." And these little chips, they can fit in like a baseball card style thing. And I've said this a million times. that what Nintendo should do is they should partner with Major League Baseball, and they should make a line of baseball cards that plays with a specific game, a baseball game, and it would be exclusive to Nintendo Switch, and they would make a bucket of cash because people would buy those cards. Sports fanatics would love this, I think, because people like to collect cards and stuff like that. I think it would be very, very cool. Shen in chat says, make them action playable. Kids would love it. So I think, Shen, what you're saying is make it so you can like move their arms and stuff. I actually have one. I can't see it on the shelf behind me, but I actually have one somewhere on the shelf. It's the Guardian from Breath of the Wild, and you can like move its arms and stuff. And I think that would be incredibly cool. Joel Thompson says, like the Major League Baseball idea when the shoe comes. Okay, I don't know what that means when the shoe comes. Art by Committee says, a Major League Baseball cards to life game, interesting idea. Oh, okay, I get what Shen is saying, make the base detachable. Okay. Oh, the show, not the shoe, the show. He's talking about the show game, not the shoe. It was a typo. All right. Anyway, that's how I feel about Amiibo. I think that they've passed their peak, and Nintendo is going to do away with them over time. And that's how I feel about it. But I'm curious, what are your favorite Amiibo? Let me know if you're watching this on video. Let me know in the comment section down below. And you can also let me know what you think Nintendo should do with Amiibo to make them popular again, or if they should bother. I'm interested in what you guys think. You can also let me know on Twitter. Now, speaking of Twitter, I have a hashtag that I asked people to use throughout the week on my Nintendo show, Nintendo Switchcraft. Throughout the week, I've been saying, hey, use the hashtag AskRJS, and on Saturday, I'm going to respond to your questions. And so people did, which is really awesome. That kind of made my day. I wasn't sure if anybody would use it or not, but people did. So let me bring that up on screen right now. And I need to, where's the Ask RJS? Here we go. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna see what people said, which is the hashtag Ask RJS. And if you're here watching live over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/runjumpstomp, then you can use that hashtag as well, and it will make it easier for me to find exactly what it is that you're saying. So the first message that came in, the first question that came in says, at RunJumpStomp, now that we've got Overwatch and The Witcher 3, what's the next no way it comes to Switch game that you would like to see? And that is a really good question. Like, there's a lot of games out there where people are like, no way it comes to Switch. And I have said many times that I didn't think that Overwatch would ever come to Switch, because Overwatch, like, I forget the guy's name off the top of my head. The guy in charge of Overwatch, and I'm sure that chat will tell me, but the guy in charge of Overwatch had said, look, we're already supporting 3 platforms. We're supporting PC, we're supporting Xbox One, we're supporting PlayStation 4, and we're doing all of those at the same time, and we're making sure that the patches for all 3 of those platforms all come out at the same time as well. So adding another platform to that is very, very hard to do, and I don't think that we can do it. And I took him at his word, and I said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a really good argument why you wouldn't bring it to the Switch, even though the Switch is wildly popular. So then Overwatch came to the Switch, you know, and I said a bunch of times, it's not coming. I was wrong about that. I said, there's no way that the Switch is going to be getting that game. And then that game came to Switch. So then the next thing is The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is, by all accounts, an incredibly gorgeous game. And the idea that it's running on Switch, I mean, it doesn't run very well. It looks really bad. But if it's the only place that you can play that game, and you want to play that game, because I've heard, I've played some of it, and it's really good. I haven't played a lot of it, but I played some of it, and I played it on Switch, and it's really good. The graphics don't hold up all that well, in my opinion, especially if you've seen it on other platforms. But if that's the only platform you have and you want to play that game, then yeah, play The Witcher on that system. So what's the next game that I think will never come to the Nintendo Switch that I would like to see? And I think that this is actually a very easy question, because everybody's talking about this game right now. And that is Cyberpunk 2077. I don't think Cyberpunk will ever come to the Switch because it's just too demanding graphics-wise. That being said, I didn't think that Overwatch would come. I didn't think The Witcher 3 would come. But they were able to do those ports. And when you've got a potential audience of 50 million eyeballs, actually 100 million eyeballs, because people have 2 eyeballs. Well, most people have 2 eyeballs. When you've got that many people who are willing to, or who have the console that you might be able to sell to, that's a really hard number to ignore. Like, there's a lot of people out there who want to buy your game, and you want to be able to sell it to them. So I can see CD Projekt Red looking at the Nintendo Switch and saying, maybe we can port Cyberpunk 2077. It's going to take a while, but maybe we can. I mean, they hired Saber Interactive to port The Witcher 3 to the Nintendo Switch, and it was successful. And not only that, but they were able to fit The Witcher 3 and both DLCs all on one card. Amazing. It's fantastic. Now, what other games do I think will never come to the Nintendo Switch? All right. I've got 2 that I've been saying will never come to the Nintendo Switch for a very, very long time, even though I would really, really like them to. And the first one is Elder Scrolls Online. Now, Elder Scrolls Online is a fantastic game. It's currently on PC, PS4, Xbox One. It's coming to Stadia. It's not going to come to Nintendo Switch because it's so huge. Now, actually, wait a second. I just watched a stream the other day, and I had forgotten about this. I can't believe I forgot about this. I just watched a stream the other day, and they are doing this new patch. It's called Update 25 or something like that. And for Update 25, they are forcing everybody who has the game on every platform to delete the game, basically, and reinstall it from the ground up. That means you have to re-download everything. Everything has to be re-downloaded. And it's a huge game. But here's what they said in this patch, or in this stream the other day. And this really surprised me. They said that they are reducing the footprint on your storage, so like on your hard drive, right? They're reducing the footprint on your storage by over 30 gigabytes. So this new way that they are distributing the game makes the files much, much smaller, so it takes up way less room. Now, right now, I think that it's still about 80 gigs for Elder Scrolls Online. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name of the game for a second there. It's about 80 gigs on your hard drive for Elder Scrolls Online. It might actually be 120. I can't remember. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my point. While I finish my point, I'm going to open up Steam and see the file size of that particular game. So my point is that maybe now that they are reducing the footprint on your storage, maybe they'll still be able to bring it to Switch. Now, of course, even if they did reduce it by a lot, you would still have the issue that the Switch comes with only 32 gigabytes of storage. So you would not be able to use this game at all unless you had an SD card installed. However, we have seen earlier this year where there's these rumors that we're going to be getting 64 gigabyte not SD cards, 64 gigabyte cartridges. So maybe Elder Scrolls Online could distribute that way. I doubt it. So I'm looking at my storage for the Elder Scrolls Online, and right now it's 105 gigabytes. I believe it says 105,365 megabytes. So if I'm doing the math right, I think that's 105 gigabytes, and I'm sure somebody in chat could correct me if I'm wrong. So 100 gigabytes roughly. Reduce that by 30. So now we're down to 70 gigabytes. That's still too big for a Switch, in my opinion. I just don't see it happening. Same thing with Final Fantasy XIV. As much as I would love Final Fantasy XIV to come to the Switch, that's another really, really heavy game as far as its footprint on your hard drive. So I don't think that that's going to come. Plus, the Switch doesn't have, it's not an always connected console, so that's a little harder for MMOs, which is too bad because I think MMOs are fantastic. Darren Pogue says, well, isn't what's making Elder Scrolls Online unlikely on the way over the way Nintendo Online works peer-to-peer? Okay, so Darren Pogue, I understand what you're saying, and here's why you're incorrect about that. Yes, Nintendo uses peer-to-peer, but Nintendo doesn't provide the online infrastructure for third-party games. So, for instance, when you are playing Fortnite on a Nintendo Switch, you are connecting to Fortnite servers. That's not peer-to-peer. It's just Nintendo's games are always peer-to-peer. Hopefully that makes sense. So, Elder Scrolls Online technically could come to the Switch. I just don't see it happening because of the storage footprint. Anyway, Mediocre Gamer, thank you very much for the question. We've got another question. This one comes from Darren CP22. They said, do you think there are any more Zelda games will be ported to the Switch, specifically Twilight Princess or Wind Waker? And that's a great question. On the Wii U, we had both Twilight Princess and Wind Waker ported to the Wii U. And they were both like remastered versions where they had improved graphics and stuff like that. And overall, I think that those were ridiculously good ports, and I was very happy that they did that. And I got to be honest, Wind Waker on the Wii U was one of the most beautiful games that I've ever played. I mean, it was one of the most beautiful games that I'd ever played back when it was on the GameCube. It was just a gorgeous, gorgeous game. You know, there's an episode of 143 Pixels. I think it's in season 2, but it might be in season 3, which is not out yet. But make sure you subscribe to it over at anchor.fm/143. But I think there's an episode of 143 Pixels where I had a guest on and they talked about Wind Waker. And we had a really, really good conversation about that game. But anyway, Wind Waker is a gorgeous game. And being able to play that on a Nintendo Switch, that would be fantastic. And I think that is something that we need to see without a doubt. We absolutely need to see those games. Hang on a sec. There we go. We need to see that game on Nintendo Switch. We need to see Twilight Princess on Nintendo Switch. Those are games that need to be on Nintendo Switch 100%, without a doubt, because they're fantastic games, and they can easily make a lot of money because people love Zelda. So yes, Darren, I think that's a great idea. All right, next question. real quick, I just want to address something in chat. Blake, I saw your message. Thank you very much. I delete any student messages that ever come in. So, sorry, buddy. Anyway, Darren CP22 also asked, do we think Nintendo will start a cloud gaming service or partner with one? Could this be how the Switch can compete with the next-gen consoles without amping hardware? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to come anytime soon from Nintendo. I don't think Nintendo's already partnering with one in the idea that Capcom is doing Capcom is allowing not allowing. Capcom is using streaming, that's the word I was looking for. Capcom is using streaming in order to put some of their games on the Nintendo Switch. Now, it's limited right now to Japan. Resident Evil 7 is available in Japan on the Nintendo Switch, and it's streaming to your Switch. You don't actually have it on your Switch, which is kind of cool. I have not tried it because I don't live in Japan. I mean, yes, the Switch is a region-free console. I can install it if I want, but I'm assuming that the servers are in Japan, and I would have a very, very latency high interaction. And plus, Resident Evil 7 isn't a game that I'm very interested in. So that being said, yes, there already is some streaming on the Switch. I think Phantasy Star Online has some streaming on the Switch as well. But do I see like Project xCloud or Stadia coming to Switch? I don't think so. I think that Google would be happy to do that. I think Microsoft might be happy to do that. But I don't think Nintendo would want the other platforms on there. Do you know what I mean? Nintendo has always been somebody who they really hold things close to their chest, and they don't like to share. And putting that other stuff on there, while I think it would be good for both Nintendo and good for the industry and good for the streaming platforms, I don't see it happening, just because of the way that Nintendo is. All right. Let's see. We've got another question here. This one comes from Ivan Rodriguez. They said, have you found out how easy it is to own a Switch and a Switch Lite while transferring between the two? I want to buy a Lite for my travels, but not if it's going to be a pain to seamlessly transfer my data often. So thank you very much for the question, Ivan. I have here a Nintendo Switch Lite, and here I've got a Nintendo Switch. This is my wife's, though. It doesn't have my account on it. So I've not done the transferring back and forth, but here's what I have found out. I found out that overall, what happens is, let's say you're playing a game, and you save your game. You have to upload your save, and then you got to get your other console and make sure that you download your save before you go. And that little hiccup right there, that makes it too much for me. That makes it too much, especially when we have devices like, here I've got my iPhone, and over here I've got my iPad. Now, my iPad is not a device that is always connected to the internet, kind of like my Nintendo Switch is not always connected to the internet. I did not buy the LTE version of my iPad. But the way that these two things, my iPad and my iPhone, the way that these two things work together is amazing. Like I can copy on my phone and then paste on my iPad. And that's an amazing thing. It really is. It feels like the future when you do things like that. And the Switch just doesn't feel like that. And because it doesn't feel like that, I am uninterested. I'm completely uninterested in trying to have my account on two places because it doesn't work as seamlessly as I think it should. All right. We've got another question here. This one comes from Gary Ramirez. They said, do you think Smash should be renamed Fire Emblem Brothers as they have taken over this game? Well, I mean, to be fair, there's 70 characters, and there's roughly 10% of the characters in the game are Fire Emblem characters. So I totally get what you're saying, but And I didn't want another Fire Emblem character, but at the end of the day, does it really matter what game they're from as long as it's a fun character to play? I don't know. But I do think it's funny to call it Fire Emblem Brothers. That's pretty hilarious. And then in response, misplaced hashtags. That's a funny name. They said, some of you people need to stop giving Sakurai a hard time about another Fire Emblem character in Smash. And so, okay, I agree with that, but I'm still going to make fun a little bit because it's funny. That's really the reason. At Perry_David says, what are your thoughts about a docked-only Switch comparable in power to the original Switch? You know, this one right here that I'm holding up with the red and the blue. Comparable in power to the OG, but cheaper than a Switch Lite. I think that would be brilliant. You know, a Switch that you just that has to be hooked up to a TV. We've been asking for that for a long time, and I think a lot of people would like that. And when you take out the battery, when you take out the screen, you save a lot of money. You save a lot of money by taking out the battery and the screen. And that means that you can sell it for a lot cheaper. How much cheaper? That's a real good question. And this makes me think about the idea that we've got... We've been talking about a Switch Pro for a long time. You know what I mean? We've been talking about a Switch Pro for a very, very long time. And many of us have said, myself included, you know, maybe an increased power in order to make it easier for the other platform, for third parties that make games for other platforms to port their games to the Nintendo Switch. And here's what just occurred to me. Nintendo isn't interested in competing directly with Microsoft and Sony. They haven't been for an exceedingly long time. So what if, instead of making a more powerful one, what if they just made it where it hooks up directly to an HDMI port and it's super cheap? Right? If it's super cheap, people are going to buy both. People will buy a Nintendo Switch for Nintendo games and for indie games, and then they will buy an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 for the games that are on that system. People are doing it right now. I mean, look, you're watching me. I've got a PS4 Pro sitting next to me, a Nintendo Switch, a gaming PC. Like, I've got all that stuff. But what if the Switch was even cheaper? Like, right now, you can get a Switch Lite for $200. Right? 200? Yeah. What if you could get it for, I don't know, maybe they could get it down to 125? Probably without a control. Oh, yeah. Now you gotta decide, does it come with Joy-Cons or does it come with a Pro Controller? I think it comes with the Pro Controller. So probably not 125. I don't know what the price would be. What would be the right price? That's my question to you. Leave a comment down below, or let me know on Twitter at RunJumpStomp. What do you think the right price is for a screenless Switch with an HDMI thing? I think maybe 150. I don't know. It's really hard to say. If you just take the guts of the Switch Lite and you put them in a little box with no screen and no battery, how low could you charge for that? And at what point do you get down so cheap that it's impulse buy territory? Oh, and look at that. Art by Committee just used the exact same phrase that I was thinking. Impulse buy territory. He says $125 is impulse buy territory. Yeah, people would buy it. That's a really, really good idea. Thank you for the message, Perry David V. Dillon. All right, one more question from Ask RJS. And it says, if you could only have one console/platform right now, which would it be and why? I'm torn between Xbox and Switch, and I have not yet experienced Stadia. All right, so for those of you who don't know, I have a lot of different shows. I've got Switchcraft, which is about Nintendo. I've got 143 Pixels, which is about just video games in general. And I've got Stadia Cast, which is about Google Stadia. And if I had to pick just one show, or not one show, just one game system to have, it would be the Switch. It would be the Switch because Nintendo makes the best games. Without a doubt, hands down, 100%, Nintendo makes the best games. They absolutely do. They just do. So that's the system that I would get if I could get only one. However, there's no reason that you can only get one because, I mean, right now there is, but starting soon, you're going to be able to get Stadia for free. In the next few months, I think, Stadia Base will come out, and Stadia Base allows you to buy games that are Stadia games, and all you have to have is a controller that hooks up to your PC, and you can stream the games that you want to play in 1080p, and you get to play the games that you want to play. And I think that that's awesome. And right now, a lot of people are ignoring that as an option because it's not an option yet, but it's going to be an option soon. And there's misinformation out there. A lot of people think that the $10 a month is a requirement. That's really only a requirement if you want 4K for your graphics. If you don't care about the graphics beyond 4K, if you don't care about the deals that we get for having Pro, then don't subscribe to Pro, and you can still buy your games and play them on a console, and I'm using air quotes for the console, for free. You just can, and that's awesome. All right, the last thing that I'm going to talk about before I wrap up the recording is that Anthony Talcott just sent in a super chat, so thank you very much for that, Anthony Talcott. And they said, probably was already asked, but you mentioned a backlog of games. What games do you want to play / complete this year? Ooh, that's a great question, Anthony. And I have to say, Final Fantasy VII Remake is the game that I'm looking forward to probably more than anything else this year is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Only because I know that that one's coming out this year. What I don't know is if it's coming out or not is Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Now, I love Breath of the Wild. It is my favorite game of all time. If that comes out this year, that'll be the one that I'm the most excited about. But right now, knowing what we know, I think Zelda Breath of the Wild will come out in holiday. But right now, knowing 100%, yes, I'm going to play this game this year because it's coming out this year. Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's the one that I'm looking forward to the most. Thank you very much, Anthony, for the support. All right, it's time for me to wrap up the recording. So if you did not know, you can find all of my awesome stuff over at my website, runjumpstomp.com. You can become a part of the community by joining runjumpstomp.com/Discord. There's 1,000 people there. Well, over 1,000 people in there now. So make sure that you join. And thank you to everybody who sent in questions for today. That was really awesome, and I had fun doing it. This show is part of the Giant Size Team Up Network. Make sure that you check out their stuff over at gstu.net. And I'm out of here. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye. There we go. What's the next game I'm looking forward to play on the Switch? Probably Animal Crossing, but we don't know a lot about what's coming. We don't know a lot about what's coming. That's the thing. We're waiting for a Nintendo Direct to really find out. So that's all that we know about. Vaxxer has a noob question. All right. Let's hear it. Waiting for Vaxxer to type his question. Since I don't have the online thing for Switch, is it worth buying Pokemon or not really? Oh, okay. I think so. You can't, I don't think you can trade. You can trade with people locally though. So like if you run into a friend and you want to trade with them, then you can trade with them, I believe, like without going online. But think of it this way. Gosh, is it? I think you can do everything in the game without... Well, okay, here's my question, Vaxxer. Do you see yourself doing online battles at all? Stupid Wabbit is bummed out about all the delayed games this year. It's better. Yes, it's better that they polish the games first. If you, Vaxxer, if you don't see yourself doing online battles, then it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If trading isn't something that you care about, and online battles isn't something that you care about, if you're looking for a relaxed RPG, Pokemon's the way to go. That'll be your third game on the Nintendo Switch, right, Vaxxer? I was just asking if that would be your third game on the Switch. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. I'm going to get out of here. It was fun. We've been here for an hour now, but I will see you all next time. Stay awesome.